Hi, my name is Afrin Supariwala, and you're listening to the Live Ayurvedic podcast. I'm an Ayurvedic practitioner, a lover of yoga, a Harry Potter fan, and a wellness entrepreneur. Ayurveda helped me heal from severe gut issues, and that's when I fell in love with this science of life. I found that the wisdom of Ayurveda goes beyond physical health to every aspect of life. In this podcast, expect fun interviews, practical strategies, and a space to connect with your inner healer. We'll talk about all things Ayurveda, wellness, mindset, and also living an eco-friendly and purposeful life. I hope you'll join me by listening, but more importantly, applying Ayurveda in your life. Enjoy today's episode. Hi, and welcome to episode 1 of the Live Ayurvedic podcast. I am so excited to finally be doing this podcast, and I'm so glad you've tuned in. This very first episode is an introduction to Ayurveda and an introduction to me. First, I'll quickly share my story, how I went from being someone who took my health for granted to the point where I almost gave myself an ulcer, and then used Ayurveda to heal and turn my health around. Then I want to share 5 most compelling reasons for you to consider a journey of learning and self-awareness and self-healing with Ayurveda. So let's dive in. I grew up in Mumbai, India, one of the most populated cities in the world, and also home to some of the most delicious street food in the world. And that's my fairly biased opinion, but we'll get to the street food later. The one thing I heard my dad say over and over again to my sister and I as kids was that health is our greatest wealth, the thing we should value and protect the most. That was his biggest teaching to us. And while I understood the words, I didn't understand what he meant. I didn't get why we should value health. I didn't really think about it, probably because I was a fairly healthy kid. My parents almost never took us out to a restaurant to eat, and street food was not an option. So naturally, that's exactly what I wanted and craved. As soon as I gained some independence, I began to do just that, eating out, street food, or at restaurants, and that continued in my college days and in my early 20s. Fast forward to the time where I was 25. I had moved to the US. I had a job that wasn't suited to me. I was really stressed in my personal life. And I began to have these occasional and then more frequent bouts of indigestion, stomach aches that would leave me curled up in bed for hours. Time went on and I continued this erratic lifestyle until one day I found myself in urgent care. They diagnosed me with gastroesophageal reflux disorder, which causes heartburn and acidity, and I was probably on the verge of getting an ulcer. My doctor prescribed me a pill that she said I would probably have to take long term. And this was a pill that would stop my stomach from producing acid. And that really rang a bell in my head. Didn't my stomach need those acids? Did I want my stomach to stop producing the acids? I've always believed that there are lessons in life to be learned. And if we don't learn from these experiences, or if we ignore the lessons, then life begins to knock you harder on the head. So this was my hard knock. Now, with my Indian upbringing also comes the practice of home remedies. I had seen countless examples of my mom or dad or grandma preparing some kind of herbal decoction, or a paste, or a blend of spices to remedy various health issues. So I wasn't programmed to accept this prescription pill without first doing some homework. That's when I set up an appointment with an Ayurvedic doctor. Now, this was such a different experience than my appointment with the allopathic doctor. He asked me so many questions, the Ayurvedic doctor, I mean. He asked me questions about my emotions, my stress levels, my relationship, my activities. And I learned that my issues were caused by, yes, my erratic diet and lifestyle, but also made more severe because of the way I was handling my emotions and my stress. It was oddly validating to hear that and to connect the dots between my gut and stress. And I worked with him over several months, addressing the stress, making changes to my diet, using breathing techniques and herbal supplements. And over the months, my stomach aches reduced, and thankfully, it's been a long time since I've had one of those episodes. That's also when I began to read about Ayurveda, and I immediately fell in love. It made so much sense, and I had seen how my family used the principles of Ayurveda all through my life. But now I understood the deeper wisdom behind it. So let's get to know some of these concepts of Ayurveda. First, the word Ayurveda means wisdom of life. It is a science of living in harmony with yourself and with nature around you. Ayurveda originates in India. It's thousands of years old and is the oldest continuously practiced system of medicine in the world. I hope you agree with my dad that health is one of the most valuable things in life. So I want to ask you, what does it mean to you to be healthy? What does having health look like? Is it the absence of disease? Is it when you have no symptoms and no pains? Is that when you're healthy? I think too often our health goals are limited to a certain waist size or a certain number on the weighing scale. And I want to invite us to think about health in a bigger, more holistic way. So let's look at the definition of health from Ayurveda. The first word I want to share is the word swastha. It's the Sanskrit word for health. And it translates as being established in yourself. What does that mean, being established in yourself? It means being connected to yourself. When you are connected to your emotions, your breath, your body, you're more likely to be aware of what's going on. And the deeper the connection with yourself, the more empowered you are in your health. When we disconnect ourselves from our bodies, our breath, our emotions, we begin to plant the seed of disease and ill health. I'm going to share another more technical definition of health. So stay with me. I'm sharing it because it paints a picture of how holistic Ayurveda is and how it looks as what it means to be healthy. So here we go. One is considered a healthy person when one's 3 doshas are balanced, the metabolism is strong, the 7 body tissues are well formed, organs of elimination are functioning well, the 5 senses are sharp and clear, and the mind, emotions, and soul are content. All these conditions satisfied, one is considered a healthy person. So, if you don't know what the doshas are, we're going to talk about these things in future episodes. But the point is that Ayurveda is such a mind-body science and has such an in-depth understanding of how all the systems work together. And we don't just look at the body in isolation. We look at the impact of each of them together. Okay, so we've defined health. And now here are the 5 reasons why you should explore the wisdom of Ayurveda and begin to apply it in your own life. Number 1, Ayurveda is a science of individualization. The idea that each person has a unique mind-body constitution is unique to Ayurveda, and it allows Ayurveda to be a very individualized practice. No 2 people are the same, and so no 2 treatments or protocols are the same. We each have a unique way of operating and functioning in mind and body, and Ayurveda gives us room to honor our uniqueness. We'll explore more about this concept of constitution and 3 doshas in one of the upcoming episodes. Number 2, Ayurveda is a science of prevention. The goal of Ayurveda is to preserve the health of the healthy and improve the quality and longevity of their life. Through centuries of observation, there is this deep understanding of how ill health and disease begin in the first place. From that knowledge, Ayurveda gives us guidance for each body type, each constitution, for each stage of life, for different seasons, and even based on geography, on how to live, how to conduct our daily routines, what to eat, what not to eat, for preserving health and preventing diseases in all of these different aspects of life. Number 3, as a system of healing, Ayurveda addresses the root cause. So, yes, prevention is the goal, but when an imbalance or disease occurs, we don't just look at the symptoms or even just look at the disease. We look deeper. We want to address the root causes and begin the process there. And we look at the whole person and we create a plan to tap into the inner healer. So that brings me to number 4. Ayurveda says that each person is their own healer. It's not the doctor or the practitioner, but you are the healer. And we have these tools, the food and the herbs and the doctor, that help us awaken that inner healing. And we use nature within us, around us, to heal. Food is medicine, the herbs are the medicine, the breath is our medicine, and handling and digesting our thoughts and emotions is our medicine. The truth is that our body is always looking to be in a state of health. Every cell has its intelligence, and we just need to allow the process to happen in the best way. Finally, number 5, Ayurveda is an inclusive, integrative science. You can use other modalities and other systems of health in your daily life, and Ayurveda embraces them all. Ayurveda actually uses aromatherapy and body work and herbology and light therapy and sound therapy. Anything that brings you in harmony with yourself, with your health, can be part of your health plan. So if the ice bath works for you, go do it. If you want to try intermittent fasting, go for it. But before you take on some exciting new practice, apply a bit of the Ayurvedic wisdom. See if it suits your constitution and how it will impact your doshas long term. Let's not get swept away by the latest trendy lifestyle practices if it hasn't been tested for a long time. The thing about using the lens of the 3 doshas in the constitution is that it empowers us to decide for ourselves what we want to try and for how long. And as soon as we notice an imbalance, as soon as we are aware of the 3 doshas and we notice that one of them or 2 of them are going out of balance, we can say, oh, maybe this practice isn't for me, or I need to tone it down or change it up. So most of all, with all of these 5 points, I love that Ayurveda empowers us. It empowers us to know ourselves better, to choose ourselves and our health. And it frees us from this roller coaster of the latest trend, which may be backed, for all we know, by the pharmaceutical industry or the processed food industry. Ayurveda empowers us to take health in our own hands. And so that brings us to the end of this episode. That's what I wanted to share, a little bit about my story, 5 reasons why you should consider exploring Ayurveda. And I hope you found this insightful, and I hope you're curious and interested in learning more about Ayurveda, or just applying more of it in your life if you've already been on the journey for a while. I have some great episodes coming up, some great interviews and great conversations, and I really hope you'll tune in to the next episode. My plan is to launch one each week, and thank you for being here today. Thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you soon. Thank you so much for listening to the Live Ayurvedic podcast. I hope you feel inspired to apply something in your life from what you heard today. Until next time, be well.